What if the moment you've been waiting for all season was finally here, the moment when hearts collide, old wounds resurface, and the future takes a new turn? Episode 9 of The Summer I Turned Pretty, Season 3, is being teased as the chapter where everything changes. And the trailer already hints at a reunion that could either mend broken ties or tear them apart forever. Fans have been whispering about it. Theories have been running wild. Now the words "together again" shine like a promise, but also a warning. Will this togetherness bring comfort or chaos? Asterisk to understand why Episode 9 feels so important. We have to look back at where the story has taken us so far. Belly has walked through a storm of choices, heartbreak, and moments where she questioned herself more than ever. Every decision she made has not only shaped her own life, but also deeply affected Conrad and Jeremiah. Both boys carry their own scars, Conrad with his quiet, unspoken grief, and Jeremiah with his restless need to prove his love. The series has built them up like two sides of the same coin, forcing Belly into the center of a love triangle that feels less like a choice and more like destiny. Episode 8 left fans on the edge of their seats, because it wasn't just about romance. It was about family, friendship, and the legacy of Susannah. Memory still lingers in every scene, every word, every glance between the characters. That weight makes Episode 9 more than just another chapter. It feels like a turning point where the past and present finally collide. The trailer teases us with soft summer visuals, sunsets, the familiar beach house, and those haunting, nostalgic flashes that remind us of better days. But underneath the beauty, there's tension. The phrase "together again" doesn't just suggest a reunion of people, it suggests a reunion of emotions that have been buried, ignored, or left unsaid for far too long. This is where secrets could spill, where long-held confessions might finally be spoken, and where the fragile connections between Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah could either strengthen or shatter completely as fans. We can feel it, the sense that the stakes are higher than ever. Belly's heart has been torn in two directions, but now, Episode 9 promises to push her closer to a choice that could change everything. Will she step toward comfort or challenge herself to face the pain of what could have been? The beauty of this series has always been its mix of soft nostalgia and raw heartbreak. And Episode 9 looks like it's going to give us both at full force. And here's the thing, not just about Belly anymore. It's about the larger picture, Steven's journey, Laurel's strength, the memory of Susannah, and the way all these connections ripple into every decision. Episode 9 isn't just about who ends up with who, it's about the family they've built, the friendships they've lost, and the pieces of themselves they're trying to put back together. That's what makes this episode so powerful. It's not simply another cliffhanger. It's the emotional storm we've all been waiting for. Asterisk, the trailer gives us just enough to set our hearts racing without giving away the full picture. The words "together again" hang over every scene. It feels like a promise that we're finally going to see the characters we love drawn back into each other's orbit. But reunions in this story have never been simple. Every smile hides unspoken feelings, and every touch carries the weight of everything that has come before. This time, the reunion feels bigger, more fragile, far more dangerous. The first glimpse of the beach house is enough to send chills down the spine of every fan. That house isn't just a setting, it's a symbol. It carries the laughter of summers past, the echoes of Susannah's warmth, and the memories of moments when Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah were just kids trying to figure out who they were. But when we see them walking through those familiar doors again, we can tell this reunion isn't about the past anymore, it's about facing the present head-on. The walls of that house now hold secrets, heartbreaks, and confessions that can no longer be ignored. The trailer carefully uses silence to build tension. There's that moment where Belly and Conrad lock eyes, and nothing is said but everything is felt. It's the kind of silence that cuts deeper than words. And know what? That silence means regret, longing, and maybe even hope. And then there's Jeremiah, who has never been afraid to speak his feelings out loud. His energy in the trailer suggests that he won't let this reunion pass without making his voice heard. That tension between silence and expression, between unspoken love and shouted truths, is what makes Episode 9 feel like a storm about to break. But this reunion isn't just about love. It's about healing. There are flashes in the trailer of moments that hint at the family bonds trying to stitch themselves back together. Laurel, with her steady strength, seems ready to guide Belly through the chaos, even as she battles her own grief. Stephen, who often plays the role of comic relief, shows up with a rare seriousness, hinting that even he feels the gravity of what's at stake. These moments remind us that Together Again isn't just about romance, it's about family finding its way back, even when the pieces don't fit as easily as they once did. The beauty of this reunion lies in its uncertainty. Will Belly and Conrad finally speak the words they've been holding back? Will Jeremiah's love be enough to change the course of her heart? Or will the three of them find themselves more divided than ever? The trailer doesn't answer these questions, it only sharpens them, and that's the brilliance of this moment. The writers know the audience is craving closure, but they also know that true drama lies in keeping us on the edge. Unsure of which way the story will break, another detail that can't be ignored is the setting itself. Summer has always been the backdrop of this series, but in Episode 9, the season feels different. The golden light of the sunset feels less like an ending and more like a warning that time is running out. Summer is the season of beginnings and endings, and this reunion feels like both at once, a chance to start over and the threat that it might all fall apart. The music in the trailer, soft at first but swelling with emotion, mirrors that duality. It's nostalgic, but it's also heavy, as if telling us that no matter what happens, this reunion will change everything forever. Perhaps the most striking thing about the trailer is how it plays with closeness and distance. We see the characters standing together, but there's space between them, as if an invisible wall keeps them apart. And then, in the very next shot, that space closes with a look, a touch, or a smile that feels almost too fragile to last. That push and pull is the essence of this reunion. It's not about neat resolutions, but about the messy, beautiful, painful reality of coming back together after everything that's been lost as fans. We're left with the burning question. Does Together Again mean healing, or does it mean reopening old wounds? Episode 9 seems determined to give us both. The reunion promises laughter, tears, and a flood of emotions that will remind us why we fell in love with this story in the first place. And deep down, this isn't just another chapter. It's the emotional peak we've been climbing toward all season long. Asterisk, every reunion may look beautiful on the surface, but beneath that polished picture, cracks always start to show. Episode 9 is shaping up to be the moment where those cracks widen, revealing the unspoken truths each character has been hiding. It's not just about who ends up with Belly, it's about what each character carries with them, what they've lost, and what they're still too afraid to say out loud. The trailer teases smiles, longing stares, and moments of closeness, but if you look carefully, you can see the shadows in their eyes. Let's start with Belly. From the very beginning of this season, she's been pulled in two directions, toward Conrad's quiet intensity and Jeremiah's open warmth. Her growth as a character has always been about finding her own voice, her own heart, and not just living in the orbit of the Fisher Boys. But Episode 9 makes it clear that she can't avoid the choice any longer. Belly's arc is no longer about daydreams of summer love, it's about facing the consequences of every decision she's made. When the trailer shows her standing between Conrad and Jeremiah, it isn't just a triangle, it's a crossroads. Does she pick the safety of what feels comfortable, or the risk of a love that could break her all over again? Conrad, as always, is the hardest to read. Silence says more than words ever could. Throughout the series, he's been painted as someone who loves deeply, but struggles to show it. He's the kind of person who would rather carry the weight of the world alone than risk letting anyone else see his pain. Episode 9 hints that his wall is starting to crack. That moment when his eyes meet Belly's across the beach house, filled with regret and something close to hope, suggests that he might finally be ready to reveal what's been buried in his heart all along. But here's the tension. Does he speak too late? Will his hesitation cost him everything? Jeremiah, on the other hand, has never been afraid of putting his feelings into words. He's bold, passionate, and wears his heart on his sleeve. The trailer, his energy feels urgent, almost desperate. It's as if he knows that time is slipping away, and he can't risk losing Belly again. His arc in episode 9 feels like the most vulnerable yet not, because he doubts his love for Belly, but because deep down he knows he might not be the one she chooses. And yet he refuses to walk away without fighting for her one last time. That mix of hope and heartbreak in Jeremiah's eyes is what will make this episode cut so deeply for fans who have rooted for him since the beginning. But it's not only about the trio at the center. Laurel, Belly's mother, has her own arc woven into this moment. She has always been the voice of reason, the grounding force when emotions spiral out of control. In episode 9, her strength will be tested again. The trailer shows her watching Belly with a quiet intensity, and it's clear that Laurel isn't just worried about her daughters' love life, she's worried about the emotional cost of the choices Belly is making. For Laurel, Together Again isn't just about romance, it's about protecting her children and honoring Susannah's memory in a way that keeps their family from falling apart. Stephen, too, steps into the spotlight. Often seen as the sibling who adds humor and lightness, his arc is beginning to shift toward maturity. The trailer flashes to him in serious moments, his eyes reflecting worry instead of mischief. It suggests that Stephen has finally grasped the weight of everything that's happening. That this summer isn't just another chapter of growing up, but a defining moment that could reshape the family he loves. His presence, though quieter, is crucial, because he represents the anchor Belly needs when everything else feels like it's spinning out of control. And then there's Susannah. Even though she isn't physically present, her memory shapes every decision, every hesitation, every unspoken word. Her absence is the loudest silence in the room. For Conrad, she's the reason he guards his heart. For Jeremiah, she's the reminder of love lived openly. For Belly, she's the symbol of everything that made summers magical. Episode 9 makes it clear that the shadow of Susannah still lingers, guiding and haunting the characters as they try to piece together a future that feels impossible without her. What makes episode 9 so emotionally charged is the tension that lies between what's said and what isn't. Characters laugh, smile, and sit together in familiar places, but their eyes betray them. They're carrying jealousy, regret, fear, and longing all at once. Every hug could be hiding heartbreak. Every smile could mask pain. Every reunion could be the start of another goodbye. This is the brilliance of the trailer. It doesn't give us answers. It gives us possibilities. It forces us to wonder, will Conrad finally confess what he's been holding back? Will Jeremiah's open heart win Belly's trust? Will Belly be able to stop looking backward and start choosing for herself? Most importantly, will the reunion we've been waiting for bring healing? Or will it simply remind them all of how broken they've become? As the episode draws nearer, one thing is certain. The hidden tensions among these characters won't stay hidden for long. Episode 9 promises to rip the bandages off old wounds, forcing every character to face what they've been running from all summer. And that's why this episode may very well become the most unforgettable moment of the entire season. Asterisk, the phrase "together again" sounds simple, even comforting. But anyone who has followed this story knows that being together does not always mean peace. Episode 9 is set up to deliver what feels like the emotional storm we've all been bracing for. The trailer hints at closeness, but closeness in this world always carries risk. The reunion is not a calm embrace. It's a collision of feelings that have been buried for too long. A collision powerful enough to change the course of every relationship in this series. When the characters step into each other's lives again, the weight of their shared history comes crashing down. Belly has grown, yes, but her heart is still tangled in the echoes of Conrad's quiet love and Jeremiah's bold devotion. For Conrad, every glance at Belly is a reminder of what he almost had and what he may still lose forever. For Jeremiah, every laugh or smile she shares feels like both a victory and a fleeting chance that could slip away at any moment. This episode is not about beginnings. It's about choices, and choices always come with consequences. The storm becomes clearer when you consider how much unsaid emotion is bubbling beneath the surface. The trailer reveals fragments, hushed moments, tears that seem seconds away from falling, words that tremble on the edge of being spoken. This is the tension we've been waiting for. Episode 9 promises to peel back every layer, forcing Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah to face the truth of what they want, even if it hurts. And let's be honest, there's no way this reunion ends without someone breaking. The beauty of this story has always been its ability to balance sweetness with heartbreak. And this episode feels like it will give us both in their most powerful form. But what makes the emotional storm so intense isn't just the love triangle. It's the family, the memories, and the sense of time slipping away. Susannah's absence is like thunder in the background, reminding every character that life is fragile, that love is fleeting, and that moments together should never be taken for granted. Laurel watches her daughter with a mixture of pride and fear, knowing that Belly's choices will shape her future in ways she can't undo. Stephen senses the heaviness of the moment, realizing that summer will never again be as simple as it once was. Every character is caught in this storm, each struggling to hold on to something they can't quite keep. The trailer also hints at turning points that go beyond romance. There are flashes of confrontation, where voices are raised and emotions spill over. These aren't the playful arguments of earlier summers, these are the kind of clashes that leave scars. Episode 9 seems ready to strip away the nostalgia and show us the raw reality of growing up. Love isn't always enough. Friendships don't always survive, and sometimes being together means facing the parts of yourself you've tried hardest to avoid, and yet, in the middle of all that chaos, there's hope. The storm isn't here just to destroy, it's here to cleanse, to clear away the confusion and to leave something stronger behind. Belly may finally find her voice in Episode 9, no longer defined only by who loves her, but by who she chooses to be. Conrad may finally lower his walls, even if it's messy and painful. Jeremiah may discover that love isn't just about winning, it's about risking heartbreak and still standing tall. These are the moments fans have been waiting for, the moments that will decide not only who ends up together, but who each character becomes by the end of this journey. What comes next after Episode 9? It's the question burning in everyone's mind. The trailer teases the reunion, but it doesn't tell us how it ends. Does Belly find clarity, or does she fall deeper into confusion? Do Conrad and Jeremiah finally stop circling each other and confront the truth of what they feel, not just for Belly, but for their own brotherhood? Will the family ties that have been fraying finally snap, or will the storm pull them closer together than ever before? These are the questions Episode 9 forces us to ask. And the brilliance of the trailer is that it refuses to give us answers. Instead, it gives us images, a tearful glance, a hesitant smile, a hand reaching out in the dark. It gives us the promise that Episode 9 won't just be another episode, it will be the emotional peak of the season. It's the chapter that defines everything that comes after. Fans know that summer always ends, but before it does, we are about to witness the kind of storm that will leave its mark forever. So as we prepare for this episode, one thing is certain. Together again doesn't mean easy, it doesn't mean perfect, and it doesn't mean happy. It means raw honesty, broken hearts, and maybe just maybe the chance for something real to rise from the ashes. Episode 9 isn't just a story about young Lovitts, a story about the painful, beautiful mess of being human. And when the credits roll, none of us will be the same again.